So I've been watching both the latest Bashar sessions, and both are obviously about first contact, which is imminent according to him, starting in 2027, and that's what I'm going to talk about here, what he has been saying in these two latest sessions. And there's a lot of things, there's many big developments actually, and that's completely new that he never talked about before. And I'm going to cover everything. As you can see on the screen, there's a timeline of the probable next 40 years that he provided in the next latest session, which was all about this new timeline. And the latest session is all about 2027 and open contact starting. So I'm basically just going to cover the basics of what he said and the most important stuff, and give you an update on what is going to happen according to his predictions and whatnot. So originally the plan for many years was that there were going to be a renaissance starting in 2020 and spanning across 1 decade, leading into open contact starting in early 2030s. But this is obviously not manifested the way that he described it, and humanity at this point is really split and divided and full of conflict, and with the threat of World War III hanging over us and all these things. So basically what he says is that they have to intervene because humanity has to evolve at this point. We can't collapse into another global cataclysm, because that's going to hold back the whole universe from evolving, because we have to evolve. It's like the Q slogan, where we go one, we go all. And that's true for the whole universe. So basically humanity is holding back the rest of the universe from evolving to higher levels, because we can't just leave something behind in a sense. Everything has to evolve together in the ultimate sense of it, and it's the end of one cycle and the start of a new cycle, and that's what is going on. So they have to intervene at this point to ensure that humanity actually will evolve instead of destroying themselves. And they will basically take charge and manage the whole thing from that point forward, from 2027 and forward in the next 40 years. So what's going to happen in 2027, according to his latest session, is that instead of just UFOs being stationed around coastal cities around the world, like he originally said, there's actually going to be open first contact with physical ET beings on the planet in 2027. And leading up to that, in the next 2 years or so, is going to be more and more UFO sightings, to the point where all of humanity are aware that the ETs are real and that they're present. And then when 2027 open contact starts, it's going to be like a press conference where these ET beings are talking to the whole world. And that's going to start changing absolutely everything from that point forward, because the ETs are then going to be involved in all aspects of human lives, because they're going to basically manage the whole evolution of the planet and of the civilization from that point forward. And in the 5 years after 2027, they're going to release all sorts of technology like free energies and these things is all going to come, and vibrational healing devices and whatnot you talked about. So many advanced technologies are going to be released in the coming 5 years after first contact starts in 2027. So that's a pretty big development. I mean, it's not only going to be UFOs and sightings, it's going to be actual real ETs, high-level ETs on the planet holding press conferences and whatnot, being involved in all sorts of aspects of humanity's affairs, basically. And, so that's a pretty big deal just a couple of years down the road. And that's going to be the start of a completely different direction for the whole civilization and the development, obviously. And as you can see on the timetable, which originally ended in 2050 on the original plan, that's when 2050 was the year when Earth joins the Galactic Federation as a fully fledged member. That was the original target year, but that has obviously been postponed with 17 years, as you can see, because now it's 2067 instead. So basically, first contact has been moved forward and down to 2027 instead of 2033 or something like that, which is a big change, and it's going to take a little bit longer than originally planned also to get. But this planetary management, with the help of the ETs and also their technologies and whatnot, is eventually going to lead to global unity consciousness around 2047. And Bashar also said in the latest session that around 2050, the same time, around 2050, there will be no more religions on Earth at all, not in the sense that they are now, because everybody will be connected to Source and on a much higher level of consciousness at that point. So that's pretty, a pretty big deal and big developments. We're going to have real first contact with physical ETs in 2027, holding press conferences and whatnot. He said that most likely the first contact ETs will be Pleiadians or something like that, at least beings that look like humans, because that's the least scary. So that seems pretty obvious, but eventually more and more, different ET races will be introduced also eventually over time, and you'll have these hybrid children that he talks about will live on Earth in 2037 according to this timeline, and we'll get even more ET technologies in the coming years, and also even UFO technology at 2057 according to this timetable. So, but he said we will be able to travel with them in their UFOs long before we get to make our own UFOs. We will be able to go on space travels with them after some time, of obviously not maybe not right away, but in the coming decade or whatever.